In the dawn of humanity, when the earth was still raw and untamed, a small village nestled among the sweeping savannas existed in delicate balance with the wild creatures that roamed beyond its borders. The villagers, living in simple dwellings crafted from reeds, mud, and animal hides, had a profound understanding of the rhythms of nature. Among them was a young girl, her hair tangled from days spent in the open, her skin kissed by the sun, and her eyes reflecting the curiosity and courage that marked her as different from the other children. She moved with a quiet confidence, agile and observant, always aware of the subtle shifts in the wind, the distant calls of animals, and the unspoken signals of danger. Life in the village was not easy. Survival required constant vigilance as predators lurked at the edges of their territory, and scarcity of food and water was a relentless challenge. Yet the girl found joy in the small moments, a sunrise painting the sky in golds and purples, the laughter of her siblings chasing each other through fields of tall grass, and the fleeting glimpses of creatures that lived beyond the reach of human settlement. One day, as she ventured further than usual toward the edge of a vast acacia forest, she stumbled upon a scene that would change her life forever. A baby giraffe, barely weeks old, struggled helplessly in a shallow ravine. Its long, spindly legs were trapped between jagged rocks, and it trembled with a mixture of fear and pain. The girl approached cautiously, knowing that the mother, if nearby, could be dangerously protective. Her heart pounded with a mix of fear and compassion, and she felt the raw pull of empathy that had always guided her actions in the wild. She knelt beside the young animal, speaking softly in a language that bridged instinct and understanding, a language learned from observing the creatures around her. Her hands, small but steady, reached for the giraffe, carefully maneuvering its fragile limbs to free them from the grip of the unforgiving terrain. The task required strength, patience, and ingenuity. She used branches as levers, mud as traction, and her own body weight to shift rocks just enough to release the animal. For hours she labored under the sun, sweat stinging her eyes, muscles screaming with exertion, yet never allowing fear or doubt to overtake her determination. As she worked, the savanna around her seemed to hold its breath. Birds perched silently on nearby branches, and the wind carried no sound except the distant roar of a lion, reminding her of the peril that surrounded them. Each careful movement was a negotiation with nature itself, a delicate dance where one wrong step could spell disaster. The baby giraffe, sensing her unwavering intention, gradually relaxed, its large, dark eyes filled with a mixture of confusion, trust, and relief. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, the last of the rocks was shifted, and the young giraffe's legs found solid footing. It wobbled unsteadily, testing its strength, and then collapsed in a trembling heap against the girl's chest. She held it close, feeling its rapid heartbeat against her own, understanding that this moment was as much about courage as it was about compassion. The girl knew that freeing the giraffe was only the beginning. The savanna was unforgiving, and a young animal separated from its mother was vulnerable to every predator that prowled the plains. She scanned the horizon, noting the distant silhouettes of hyenas, the low-lying stalks of tall grass hiding leopards, and the circling vultures high above. Her mind raced with strategies, considering how she could guide the baby giraffe back to safety without drawing attention. Her ingenuity, honed through years of observation and necessity, led her to use natural cover, moving quietly and deliberately, her body low to the ground, blending with the colors and textures of the environment. She whispered to the giraffe, her voice a soothing presence, guiding it step by step toward a safer, more open space where it could regain its strength. Each movement was calculated, each pause measured against the rhythm of the wild, as the girl and the giraffe formed a bond that transcended species, a connection rooted in shared vulnerability and mutual trust. Hours passed, and the sun dipped lower in the sky, casting long shadows across the savanna. Exhaustion clawed at her body, and hunger reminded her of the fragility of human life in such a harsh world. Yet she pressed on, driven by an inner resolve that refused to yield. At one point, a sudden rustle in the grass forced her to freeze, her heart leaping as she recognized the telltale signs of a stalking predator. The giraffe, sensing the tension, stiffened, its ears flicking nervously. The girl's mind raced through every tactic she had learned, every instinct honed by a lifetime in close contact with nature. She shifted her weight, whispered reassurance, and slowly led the young giraffe to a small copse of trees that offered both concealment and a vantage point. From there, she could observe the surrounding plains, ready to react at the first hint of danger. It was a delicate balance of patience and vigilance, a test of her ability to survive alongside the creature she had vowed to protect. As night fell, the savanna transformed. Shadows lengthened and the sounds of nocturnal predators filled the air. Owls called softly from the treetops, and the distant roar of a lion echoed across the plains. The girl, though weary, maintained her watch, understanding that her charge's life depended on her unwavering attention. She gathered dry grass and small branches to create a temporary shelter, shielding the baby giraffe from the cool night air and the prying eyes of nocturnal hunters. Her hands, calloused from labor and survival, worked deftly, fashioning a protective cocoon that combined ingenuity with instinct. All the while she hummed softly, a tune learned from her mother, a song of reassurance and connection. The giraffe, sensing the safety and warmth in her presence, finally allowed itself to rest, its breathing slowing as it drifted into a tentative sleep. The following days brought new challenges. Food and water were scarce, and the girl had to navigate the dual responsibility of feeding herself and ensuring the baby giraffe's survival. She foraged for wild fruits, roots, and edible leaves, her knowledge of the land guiding her choices. She located a hidden spring, its water cool and clear, and led the giraffe there cautiously, aware that predators could be drawn to the same source. Each day she taught the young animal the rhythms of survival, guiding it through the intricacies of the landscape, the safe paths, the dangers of quicksand, and the lurking predators hidden in tall grass. Her presence became a lifeline, not only protecting the giraffe but also instilling in it the instincts that would one day allow it to thrive independently. Throughout this journey, the girl's own growth was evident. She discovered reservoirs of strength she had not known existed, a courage born of necessity and compassion. Her bond with the baby giraffe became emblematic of the fragile balance between human and nature, a testament to the resilience of life in a world where every day was a struggle for survival. Villagers, initially wary of her prolonged absences and unconventional actions, began to recognize the extraordinary nature of her efforts. They observed from a distance, whispers of awe spreading through the settlement, as stories of the girl who saved a creature of the wild became woven into the fabric of communal memory. Her actions were not merely an act of kindness, but a demonstration of the deep understanding that life, in all its forms, was interconnected, and that courage often manifested in quiet, unseen ways. As weeks turned into months, the baby giraffe grew stronger, its legs more confident, and its movements more assured. The girl continued to guide and protect it, understanding that the ultimate goal was not possession but liberation, preparing the young animal to rejoin its species and the vast expanse of the savanna. The day finally came when the distant silhouettes of adult giraffes appeared on the horizon, their long necks swaying gracefully as they moved toward a waterhole. The baby giraffe, recognizing its kin, hesitated at first, unsure and fearful, yet guided by the gentle encouragement, it took tentative steps toward the herd. The reunion was a delicate, poignant moment. The adult giraffes nuzzled the young one, their presence both protective and affirming. The girl watched from a distance, her heart swelling with a mixture of pride and bittersweet sorrow, understanding that her role as protector was complete. She had nurtured life, demonstrated courage, and forged a bond that transcended the ordinary boundaries between species. Even as the giraffe rejoined its herd and vanished into the rolling plains, the girl's story did not fade. she returned to her village, forever changed by the experience. Her confidence and understanding of the natural world deepened, and the lessons learned from those tense, delicate days in the wild became a foundation for her growing wisdom. She continued to explore, to observe, and to act with the quiet courage that had first driven her to save a life in need. The villagers, witnessing her resilience and empathy, began to pass down her story, a tale of survival, courage, and the extraordinary capacity for compassion in a world often defined by struggle and uncertainty. Her journey became a legend, inspiring future generations to recognize the power of empathy, the importance of bravery, and the profound connection between humanity and the natural world. In time, the savanna itself seemed to honor the girl's courage. The areas she had traversed became familiar territories for the young wildlife, paths marked by her presence, subtle signs of protection and guidance that allowed the ecosystem to flourish in harmony. Her actions, though singular and personal, had rippling effects, influencing the lives of creatures both human and animal. Each sunrise brought new challenges, yet the girl approached them with the confidence born of experience, knowing that life demanded courage, vigilance, and a willingness to act selflessly. In the grand tapestry of the prehistoric world, she became a symbol of resilience, a reminder that even the smallest individuals could enact profound change through determination, empathy, and unwavering courage.